Jason Eisner is one of the most creative bartenders I've ever met. Recently I heard that he's playing around with cannabis cocktails. Now, full disclosure, this isn't exactly like pot in cocktails. There's an ingredient called CBD, which is supposedly supposed to mellow you out, but not actually get you like... Let's go check it out.
So today we're going to make 3 different cocktails with one of my favorite ingredients in the world, CBD.
I mean, is this gonna get me higher?
CBD is a non-psychoactive component in the cannabis plant. So more or less what it's actually used for is to kind of help with bodily aches and pains. It's anti-anxiety, anti-stress, antidepressant. So really what it does is it just kind of makes you feel fantastic, but it's not going to mess with your sort of mental state of being. This is my twist on the classic cocktail, the Negroni. So this is Carpano Antico, which is an Italian sweet vermouth. I'm also going to use Contratto Aperitif. I'm going to do a bar spoon of ruby port just to give it some body because that aperitif is a bit lighter. So just going to give this a little orange oil, drop that in there. I very purposefully decided to use an oil-based tincture for these cocktails because if you go to an Italian restaurant prior to your meal, they give some olive oil and balsamic vinegar, right? I want people to see what they're putting in their body so that they can have that kind of residual fun effect, right?
Absolutely.
So this is the ingredient that's super important. 5 drops in your cocktail. So this is the Stony Negroni.
I love the presentation is so good.
Thank you.
It's amazing. It's super buttery and smooth, and you have a very subtle hint of that like herbalness from the
CBD.
See what just happened?
I guess now is probably a good time to just move on to the next cocktail. It's an interesting twist on an old fashioned. And what we're using here is this organic bourbon from Chicago, Koval, Mezcal Espadin from Oaxaca, named Benacin, some homemade gentian bitters, and a homemade sarsaparilla syrup. So this is the rolled fashion.
And what's going on right over here?
So the garnish on this is a miniature homemade vegan organic churro, which you can turn into a blunt. Yes, no.
Just a great balance of flavors. The smokiness in the mezcal works really nicely with the sort of like warmth of the whiskey. The CBD is a little bit more subtle, but you get that like very like mellow herbal quality from it.
Let's move on to the third and final cocktail, and this is a vegan sour. So what's going to be in this? It's actually quite simple. It's a little bit of organic mint, some agave, some lime, some tequila blanco, a pinch of sea salt, and then we're going to put some aquafaba in there. The beauty of aquafaba is there's no risk of bacterial infection. It's vegan and it's organic. There's no distinct smell or flavor, whereas with egg whites it can get a little hairy.
So all of this frothiness is from the aquafaba.
That's right. So right now I'm adding some ceremonial grade matcha. So this is the sour teasel.
This drink, as compared to the 2 prior, I taste the CBD more. I think just because the ingredients here are more delicate and not as pronounced. And I like the mint. It adds a freshness and a vibrancy to the cocktail. And I think the CBD pairs really well with tequila. I think that's like a great sort of like flavor across the board. You're so creative. I definitely don't know anyone else that's doing this.
Cheers.
If you want to learn more about matcha, click here. One of the first things you notice is its zippy green color and that it comes in powdered form.